All right, let's jump right into something that is absolutely crucial for any entrepreneur in India, getting your brand trademarked. You've poured your heart and soul into creating something special, right? Well, this is all about making sure you actually own it. So let's break down how you can protect your most valuable asset. So you've got it, the perfect name, the perfect logo, everything just clicks. But I have to ask you, is that name really legally yours? That's the big question we're going to tackle, because honestly, without the right protection, your brand is just kind of out there, totally vulnerable. And look, this isn't just some scare tactic. It's a fact. For businesses that are starting to get noticed, this is a real thing that happens. The second you start getting some traction, you can bet someone will try to copy your name. So protecting it isn't just a legal thing to do, it's a core part of your business strategy. So where do we even start? Well, before you touch a single form or pay a single rupee, everything, and I mean everything, starts with one word: uniqueness. This first step is so important because if your name isn't unique enough to be protected, then the rest of this whole process is, a total non-starter. Okay, so what does the government actually consider unique? Well, the rules are pretty specific. You can't just trademark something like Delhi Computers, right? That's a geographical name. And it can't be a generic term for what you sell. But you can get clever. Like the example here, VA Delhi 86 could work because that combination of words and numbers creates something new, something distinct. The main thing is to avoid anything that's too common or sounds way too much like a brand that's already out there. So before you get too attached to a name, it's time to do a little homework. Think of this as your three-step check. First, and most importantly, you've got to check the official IP India portal. That's the official database. Second, do a deep dive on Google and all the social media platforms. See who else is using that name. And third, check for the domain name. Seriously, if the .com and the .in are already taken, that's a huge red flag. Okay, so you've found a unique name, you've done your research, and it looks like it's all clear. Now you're ready to actually start the application journey. And this is where you're going to face your first big decision. And to understand that decision, you need to know about this little thing right here, a digital signature certificate, or DSC. Just think of it like a USB pen drive, but instead of files, it holds your official, legally binding signature for online government stuff. It's a key piece of hardware if you're even thinking about doing this yourself. And that brings us to the two paths you can take. You can file it yourself, the DIY route. This means you'll have to buy that DSC token and figure out a pretty complicated online system. It'll definitely save you some money on fees, but it can be a real headache. The other option? Hire a professional. They handle all the complicated stuff for you. It costs a bit more, sure, but it saves you a ton of time and stress. All right, the next piece of the puzzle is picking your trademark class. The whole system is broken down into 45 different categories, some for goods, some for services. You have to file your application in the specific class that your product or service actually falls into. The best advice here is to start simple. Just pick the one main class for your primary, your hero product. It keeps the cost down at the beginning, and you can always add more classes later as your business expands. So you filed the application. Phew, time to kick back and relax, right? Well, not quite. The journey isn't over yet. Now we get into a waiting period where a couple of potential problems can pop up, and it's really important you know the difference between them. This breaks it down perfectly. An objection comes directly from the government's trademark department. They're the ones saying, we think this name is too generic, or this is too close to another trademark we already have on file. You have to formally write back and argue your case. And opposition, though, that comes from the outside, from another company or just anyone, really. That's when somebody else stands up and says, hey, wait a minute, that name is too similar to my brand, and that can turn into a real legal battle. Okay, let's talk about the two things every single entrepreneur wants to know. How much is this going to cost me, and how long is this whole thing going to take? It's time for a little reality check. You need to be ready for a marathon, not a sprint. I mean, look at this timeline. The normal process is, well, it's long. After you file, it can take anywhere from 18 to 24 months. That's up to 2 years just for the department to examine it. Then it's advertised for 3 months so other people can oppose it. All told, you're looking at about a 2-year journey from start to finish. But what if you just can't wait 2 years? Well, good news, there is a fast-track option. If you pay an extra government fee, you can speed the whole thing up and potentially get it all done in about 3 to 4 months. It's that classic trade-off, you know? You can spend more money to save a whole lot of time. Now let's talk money. The government fees are split into two tiers, and this is great news for all the smaller businesses out there. If you're an individual, a recognized startup, or an MSME, you only pay 4,500 rupees per class. That is literally half the price of the 9,000 rupee fee that bigger companies have to pay. It's a really nice advantage designed to help new businesses get off the ground. So, what's the total damage going to be? Let's put it all together. For a startup filing in just one class, you've got the government fee of 4,500. Then you add the professional fees, which are usually somewhere between 1 and 2,000 rupees. So your total estimated cost is going to land somewhere between 5,500 to 6,500 rupees. For what you're getting, total ownership of your brand name, that is a very, very reasonable investment. So after all that, navigating the application, dealing with any potential objections, and that long, long waiting period, you've finally done it. You've crossed the finish line. Your trademark is officially registered. And this is the moment you get to make a very important change. You see that TM symbol? You can use that as soon as you filed your application. It basically tells the world you're claiming that name. But the R and a circle symbol, that's the one you want. That means your registration has been granted. It means you don't just claim it anymore, you legally own it. It's a tiny symbol with a huge amount of legal power. And that legal ownership, it lasts for a solid 10 years. Now, it's not forever, but when that decade is up, you can just pay a renewal fee to extend your protection. It's a simple process to make sure your brand stays safe for the long haul. So here's the bottom line. You spend so much time and effort building your brand, building your legacy, and securing all that hard work legally just starts with this one process. It's not just an investment in a name, it's an investment in the entire future of your business. So let me ask you one last time. Your brand is your legacy. Isn't it worth protecting?